I'm Lexi, and I'm in the US. Today's video actually started yesterday, but when I started it at way too early o'clock in the morning, I was just not ready to be on camera, because we all have those moments, right? So for this video, we are going to take a look at the evolution of a roast. The idea here is I hate leftovers. But that doesn't mean I want to cook every day, or at least not cook everything. So sometimes I'll get like a 3-pound roast, something that's way too much for my house to eat in one meal. And instead of eating leftovers, it will evolve. So let's go back to yesterday, where we're gonna make a roast. I'll see you in a few minutes. So here we are at way too early o'clock in the morning, and we are going to start this roast with a handful of small potatoes in the bottom of the crock pot. Just gonna leave these whole. These are a few bites apiece in size. The roast itself goes on top next. This is a 3-pound roast. If you are able to orient your roast so that the fat side is up, do so. That will allow the fat to melt down through the meat and keep everything more moist. I know, we hate that word. Now I'm going to add some mushrooms. Just throw these in on top. I really like mushrooms, so I'm going to add a lot of mushrooms. I'm going to add all the mushrooms, it seems. All the mushrooms for the win. Then I'm going to add some onion. I had a 1/4 of an onion in the fridge from something else, so I'm going to throw that in. But I've got another onion sitting down there, and I'm going to chop that up into, I believe, quarters and add that as well. There was a part in this one that looked weird, like one of the layers. So I just pulled that out as I was placing my onion pieces around in the crock pot. And I usually leave onions in roasts pretty chunky. I just like them that way. Let's just speed up the rest of me getting this onion in there a little bit, shall we? Next is some garlic, because every good roast beef needs some garlic, right? I'm just going to cut the root end off of these cloves and then give them a smash and peel them. I believe that they're going to get a rough chop and then sprinkled around on top. It probably would have helped if I was using a bigger cutting board or had thrown that onion detritus away first, have a little more space to myself. But it was morning and I had not had coffee and my brain was not entirely on yet. We all know what that's like, right? Again, I'm just going to speed this up for you a little. And then to make this as easy as possible, I'm just going to throw over a can of cream of mushroom soup. Cream of onion works too. Cream of bacon would probably be just as good. Now, with the cream of mushroom soup, it has a lot of salt in it. So you want to be either fairly conservative, or I actually think I didn't end up salting this other than the soup. Now, if you get the low sodium soup, you'll still need to salt your meat. Just dump this over top, spread it around a little bit. You don't have to add any liquid. The roast will create its own liquid and it will all kind of meld together
into a beautiful sauce. Now I did come back later and add some pepper to this, which I had forgotten to do at this time, but add some pepper. Then I'm just going to let this cook on low for 8 hours, and I will be back and see you when it's finished. So we've got this beautiful roast here, and I've already scooped out a portion, and now we're going to take a bite. That is so good. Perfectly cooked, tender, beautiful, wonderful. Let's grab a mushroom. Love mushrooms. I think my favorite part of the whole roast is the mushrooms. And take a bite out of one of these potatoes. We'll just do it caveman style, right? Perfect. So soft. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to go eat the rest of my dinner. And I will see you back tomorrow to show you what this roast is going to evolve into. Hi! So welcome to day 2. Today, we are making burrito bowls. I already have some rice, just plain white rice, simmering away over on the stove. And I made 2 days worth of rice. We're going to use the rest of the rice tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned here for that. This is about half of the roast that I have left that I had made yesterday. The other half is in another container in the fridge. But all I'm going to do with this is just cut it up into bite-sized pieces. And because, which way does this grain go? This way. Because we seasoned the roast pretty neutrally with just the mushroom soup, that means that we are pretty free to do other flavor profiles, and the original seasoning on the roast won't interfere. I also have a pan heating on the stove with some oil, and I am going to put this into that pan so that like all these cut edges can get a little bit browned. It also helps re-tenderize it and break it apart a bit, which will be nice in the bowls. I'll be right back. While we wait for that, I'm going to dice up half an onion. You want this pretty small since you'll be eating it raw. And you know, that's all the chopping. That meat's going to take a few minutes before we're ready for the next step. So to create a little bit of space here, I'm going to go ahead and put some greens in the bottom of these bowls. This is just some arugula or rocket that I have on hand. I know that like a romaine or an iceberg would be more traditional. This is what I've got. We work with what we've got, right? Food waste is not a good thing. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, and then I'm going to put these, this is some black beans and just a can of corn, in the microwave, and I will see you back when it's time to do the next thing with the meat. Okay, it's only been a few minutes, but you can see that this meat has gotten a fair bit of color on it. So I'm just going to pour in about a cup of water. Sorry, that got steamy. And about half a packet of taco seasoning. That's probably about a tablespoon if you're not working with packets. Give this a stir,
And then it's gonna go back on the stove until most of this water has evaporated. And what we have is a meat coated in a nice flavorful sauce. See you back in a minute. So I've already gotten the rice in the bowls, and I put the extra rice just in the fridge for tomorrow. Wait till you see what we make then. And I'm just gonna scoop some of this meat into the bowls. I have a little extra, I usually do, because I'd rather have too much than not enough. That looks pretty generous and even. And you know, what I'll probably do with this is throw it in a tortilla with some cheese and make a quesadilla for a midnight snack. So there you go. You're getting one more idea for what to do with your leftover roast. And then, to build the rest of this, some onion. And I can just set the rest of that in the fridge in a little dish to either go on the quesadilla or with tomorrow's dinner. A scoop of corn. And again, the rest of this can easily be repurposed tomorrow. Some black beans. We'll go 2 scoops of black beans. And then some salsa, because we need a saucy component. Love to hear that pop on those jars. I don't have a spoon. A little non-traditional, but I think a Chinese soup spoon will be great for getting salsa out of the jar. It's right on top in the middle there. We're going to go with 2 nice scoops so it works its way through the rice. And this will be great for a chips and salsa snack later. I can just sit in there. And some cheese, because what's a burrito bowl without cheese, right? Yeah, some sour cream, and this one is brand new. It's a nice blop on top. And then we can't forget these little gems. Now this is something I make. These are pickled radishes. This is something that I make anytime I can get radishes on clearance at the grocery store, and I keep in the refrigerator. And I like to put them on pizza, on tacos, on burrito bowls, on all kinds of things. And we're just going to tuck a few in the corner there. If you want to see how to make these, let me know down below in the comments. I'd be happy to make a video on them. But this is our completed burrito bowls. And I'm just going to dig. How do you eat your burrito bowl? Do you mix it all up, or do you just kind of like pick and dig? I think for today, I'm going to pick and dig because it's just so pretty, right? Nice piece of meat. Ooh, that is tender. Get down here for some rice and some cheese and salsa. I want that onion. So much flavor. So much flavor, and really, it's just assembly. I microwaved a few things, I reheated some meat, and this is something that I would be perfectly happy serving to guests. So next time you have some leftover roast beef, give this a thought. But I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Hi, welcome to day 3 of the evolution of a roast. Today we are going to use the leftover rice from yesterday because if you remember, I made 2 portions, and we are going to make fried rice. I've already cut up the rest of the meat, and I've got a pan over on the stove getting hot. So I'm going to start by going and putting this in the pan, letting it get some brownness, just like we did with the burrito bowls yesterday. And while that is browning up, we are going to attack the rest of the vegetables. I had a mild heart attack when I was setting up this video, thinking that I had forgotten and used all the mushrooms in the roast. But good news, I had another thing. So we're going to start with some mushrooms, and I am just going to cut these into quarters. If you've got bigger ones like this, I might go 1/8. I just find quarters a little bit easier to slice than slices, and a little bit easier to pick up with chopsticks, because who wants to eat fried rice with a fork? Okay, we've got some mushroom, and then I've got a small onion here. And we're going to cut this up into fairly large chunks. So I'm just going to cut both of these in half this way, and then go orbital thirds. And then this will break up as you cook it. Slide that up there. I am also going to add a can of water chestnuts. I guess this would be up, huh? I know water chestnuts are not traditional in fried rice, but I have loved them. I have loved them since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to call them water chessmen because kids call things weird things. But I love them, so I put them in. I'm also going to put in, this is just some frozen shredded zucchini. I used the other half of the bag in something else the other day. Figured I'd throw it in there, some extra vegetable, you'll never know it's there. And these are frozen peppers that I grew in my garden last year and cut up and froze so that I could use them throughout the year. If I had fresh peppers, I'd use fresh peppers. I don't have fresh peppers today. That looks like a good amount of peppers. Oh, one more thing. Some garlic. So we just want to chop up this garlic. That one does not look so great. I know there's about 800 methods for peeling garlic out there, and I have never had luck with any of them. I have even bought the little garlic peeling gadgets, and they didn't work. At least not for me, so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. This one has a bad spot on it. Part of it looks pretty good, so we're just going to cut that off.
Yeah, the only thing that has ever helped me in peeling garlic is to go ahead and smash it and then take the peel off. Just give this a rough chop. Okay, I'm going to let that meat brown a little bit, add all these vegetables, let these cook a little bit, and then I will see you back for the next step. Okay, so the vegetables have softened. The meat's got some browning on it. Time for the next step. I'm just going to scooch everything to one side, add a little bit more oil, and then this is the leftover rice from yesterday. And I am just going to pop that into the pan. And I'm going to add a disclaimer here. I am not necessarily good at making fried rice. This never comes out with the texture of restaurant fried rice, but I think it tastes good, and it's a great way to use up the extra meat. At this point, I am also going to add in some ginger. You can use fresh if you have it. And a fair amount of soy sauce. And then this is going to go back on the heat, and I'm going to break this rice up and let it cook a bit, and I will see you back for the next step in a few minutes. Alright, one last step before it's ready to eat. I've pushed it all over to one side again, and on this empty side, I'm going to crack 2 eggs and get these stirred up. Could you stir them up in a bowl ahead of time? By all means. Do I want an extra bowl to wash? Absolutely not. And then I'm going to drizzle over some toasted sesame oil. Now, it's traditional to do all the cooking in toasted sesame oil, but I find if I do that, then my house smells like sesame oil for a solid week. And I really don't want to deal with that right now. So I'm going to put this back on the heat, scramble the eggs, get it all stirred in, and then it's time for dinner. Well, the eggs scrambled and I got everything all stirred up. Looks delicious, doesn't it? Got some chopsticks. Let's find ourselves a bite. There we go. Very good. Very, very good. And that toasted sesame oil adds a little something that you just can't get from anything else. This is one of my favorite ways to use up leftover meat. And specifically, going the route of burrito bowls and then fried rice is one of my favorite paths to use up extra meat. Now, there's really a lot of dishes that could go like this. You could make stew, of course, or soup, or cottage pie, or pot pie, or hash, or any number of things. These are just the ones that I think I like most. But if you want to see some of the other ways that you can evolve a roast dinner, let me know in the comments down below. I'm not opposed to doing another one of these. But that's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed the video, if you could give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. So I'm going to go eat my dinner, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!